Hi, welcome to the Spiritual Connection Show. I'm your host, Katie Augustyn. So I'm a transformation coach, I'm a shamanic practitioner, I'm an energy healer, and I'm the spiritual head of Transformation Center CT, which is located in Westport, Connecticut. So at the center, we do a variety of workshops, we have trainings, everything you can imagine during a month is there. And you can visit our website to see what's happening. And it's transformationcenterct.com. But one thing we do every month is we host satsang, which is Sanskrit for in the company of the truth. So at satsang, it's a very beautiful evening. It's really just an hour, and then you're welcome to stay after for refreshments. But we do meditation, we do chanting, we talk a little bit. It's just a very, very spiritual evening. You can get away from everything and be with yourself for just a short time. So please join us anytime you're available. So the Spiritual Connection Show is all about connection. What a surprise. It's really one of my core values, and that's why I wanted to start the show. So it's about connecting with each other, as well as connecting more fully with our own spiritual selves. And you can do that by learning from the guests that I have every week. As you know, I have a different guest each week. They all do something different. They all have stories to tell that can help you in your journey. So please welcome my guest tonight is Dr. Lawrence Stern.
Thank you, Katie.
Yeah, I'm so glad you could join us tonight.
Great to be here.
We've been trying to get you on the show.
It's great to be with you.
It finally worked out.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to read a little bit about you so the audience can get to know you a little bit before we get started. So Dr. Stern is a chiropractor with over 35 years in private practice. Focused on wholeness, he has a unique and integrative approach to health and well-being. So some time ago in 2003, Dr. Stern received his advanced certification in Network Spinal Analysis, also called NSA, and his primary focus is now on NSA,
yes.
I believe, yeah. And it's really what he considers the key component of his heart-centered, integrated approach, which reflects his dedication to improving all aspects of his patients' lives. That sounds really, really awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. And I do want to learn more about NSA and everything you do. But first, the question I ask all my guests, you probably already know this, tell our audience a little bit about your spiritual journey thus far, how you got to where you are, that kind of thing.
Well, when I was, the earliest I could remember, I was meant to do healing. I was destined to get sick people well. That was my, early on. I don't even know how old I was, whether I was a toddler, but it was just the fascination around healing, whether it be the mystery, the magic around it. And I grew up in a very holistic family. My father was doing yoga when he was a young man, and we ate healthy food in the garden, and we didn't go to the medical doctor. We went to other natural healers. So it was just, I was being pushed. Spirit and universe was pushing me in a direction, and sometimes I listened, as Spirit would whisper, and sometimes I didn't. And those are the moments when, for instance, I was injured on the soccer field, and because of my injuries, I went to a chiropractor. It wouldn't have happened any other way.
Wow.
So, and then I just, fast forward, I think the biggest difference, the biggest moment in my life, knowing that this is my path, was when, after I was injured, I was working at a sporting goods. I was a sporting goods salesman, and I was finishing up my career in clothing, and I was going to my very last store. It was a sports store out somewhere in Montvale, New Jersey, and it really didn't matter if I went or didn't go. It was a Friday afternoon, and it was a beautiful day. So I went because I made a commitment that I would do it. So I met the manager at the store, and again, we started talking. I kind of told him what was going on in my life, and I was thinking about being a chiropractor, but I wasn't really sure. And he said to me, "Really? You want to be a chiropractor? Wait right here. I'm going to go home. I'll be back in 10 minutes. you mind this store. So, right, like, why is he leaving? So he comes back in 10 minutes, and he hands me a piece of paper. It was an application to New York Chiropractic College. He was a 10th semester student at New York Chiropractic College.
Wow.
And I just said, I get it.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, and my life has been like that.
That's
It's been
amazing.
very serendipitous.
Yeah.
And I've trained myself to listen.
Oh, good for you.
And I'm doing what I'm doing because I was meant to do this.
Because you listened. And so from a very early age, you kind of, so it was like just a knowing or a sense?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
you-
I just felt someone was behind me, pushing me and guiding me. It was very real and tangible. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
So
what a great story. And here you are, 35 years of being a chiropractor. But it's not just any chiropractor.
No.
It's a special.
And it was like, it was at that moment after I'd spent 15 years or so being a sports chiropractor. And I was at the Olympics in Atlanta. I was all over the world doing sports, and it was as I was reaching my 40s, I was like, okay, I know that our bodies and our minds and our spirit are able to do things greater than perhaps the techniques that I'm using. It's time for me to soul search and look and see what's next.
Wow.
And so I started to do that. I started to look. I was considering maybe not being a chiropractor anymore, or doing something different, because I was being called to do something what I consider to be a higher level of care.
Higher vibration.
Yes, exactly, vibration.
Yeah.
And sure enough, someone told me about network chiropractic, network care. I went to a seminar, a conference with Dr. Donald Epstein, who developed the work, and I never looked back. And I've been doing that work since 1996.
Yeah. So were you on the forefront of that? Was it new at the time?
It was new. Donald started the work back in the 80s, and the difference between a traditional chiropractor or traditional chiropractic adjustment, the objective in that realm is more structural in nature. It's a structural technique.
Okay.
But Donnie Epstein was going back to the roots of chiropractic, where the techniques were called tonal techniques. And tonal techniques were designed to shift the tension state inside the nervous system. So people that deal with, for instance, anxiety or chronic pain, a lot of their challenges have to do with the state of the nervous system stuck in fight or flight.
Yeah.
And so network care is designed to shift the tension state by making gentle touches on the spine that cues the higher centers of the brain, and the body begins to shift beyond the lower brain function. And they start to breathe differently, and they start to settle into their body. And doing the work you do.
The energy works very similar. Yeah.
Exactly. And so there's a systematic discharge of the system in what we call level 1 of care, and then a reset and a reorganization. And then people leave my care just transformed.
That's amazing. So it really addresses almost like the root cause of what's going on, not just the structural aspect of it.
Yes, I mean, that's what I focus on. When someone comes into me, like they come into you. I had a young woman come in just yesterday, high levels of anxiety, trauma when she was younger as a child, and the impact of all of that on their body.
Right. After all those years of trauma seeping in, and just,
So perhaps a traditional approach might be, practitioners going after the symptoms or treating the condition. I step back and say to myself, this is a young woman, why isn't she healing?
Yeah.
What's preventing her?
Right.
If God gave us the ability to heal, then there's something in the way.
Yeah.
That's how I think. So I kind of pan back and look at the nervous system from the standpoint of spinal cord tension patterns that develop. The spinal cord tightens relative to physical, mental, emotional, and chemical stress, and then it gets stuck.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then everything kind of starts with that.
Well,
I mean, because it's all connected.
it's all connected, and I use the example, and I think people and my patients get this, is that it's like a radio station. A radio station has a frequency, as our nervous system has a frequency. And if that frequency, if you turn that radio station to a particular station, whatever it might be, it plays a particular kind of music. Well, the same thing happens to our nervous system. If we get stuck in a higher state, higher frequency tension state, it's going to present predictable changes like negative emotions get baked in, the chronic pain, the feeling of hopelessness. There's a myriad of symptoms and conditions that live inside that frequency. And so if you don't change the frequency, the music never changes, no matter what you put on somebody or what you put in somebody. So we help to assist, gently nudge the system back into its normal frequency state.
Where it's optimal.
Optimal, and it's adaptable.
What do you mean by that? How does that work?
Well, when we're in that heightened frequency state, we're reacting to life.
Yeah.
We're not necessarily responding in the moment, choosing the moment. We don't have that ability to do that because we're stuck in lower level limbic system, survival brain.
I see.
And that brain, is about just survival, protection, defense. There's not a lot of growth going on.
So there's no creativity, there's no flexibility.
No.
There's
no.
That's what you mean by adaptability.
That's right. And inside of that, what's the thought patterns? What are the feelings that come along with that lower brain activity? And we have to find a way, which we do in network care, to bypass the lower brain, so the higher brain, the creative brain, can step in.
I gotcha.
And take over.
Okay. Well, that's really fascinating. So can you describe what a session looks like? I'm curious.
Of course. And just again, that what I'm looking at is what is the spinal cord doing? When chiropractors work on a particular patient, they're not looking at the cord itself. They're looking at the spinal nerves. It's like looking at the branches of a tree versus the trunk.
Okay.
So we're looking at the trunk and seeing what kind of stress it's under, and what kind of torque is going on inside of the spinal cord.
And you do that with an X-ray or by manipulation?
We do that using. I have non-invasive equipment that looks at the nervous system from 3 different perspectives, and then we're able to give that nervous system a number score. We know what the patterns are, where the tension's being stored. Lots of times people come in with chronic lower back. It has nothing to do with the lower back. It's stuck up here.
Yeah.
And I tell them sometimes, when you step on a dog's tail, it barks out of the other end. So sometimes the tail, the tension is up here, but it's barking down there. So we look at the cord, and then fast forward, and someone lies on the table, fully clothed. We start with a very gentle contact, very light contact, the kind of contact you would put on your eyeball. And we tap in very gently to the area where the cord attaches. The cord attaches to the sacrum, the coccyx, the cervical spine, the base of the skull. And the light touch sends a signal up the meningeal system to the prefrontal cortex, the higher centers of the brain, to get the brain's attention. It's like trying, hey, brain, look at the tension state. And the brain responds with an organic breath called the respiratory wave. And you see people's bodies beginning to undulate on the table as the system discharges.
Wow, interesting is
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
So just by a light touch, you send that signal.
It's just amazing. Every day I wake up, I'm so thankful for what I do and how I know I can make a difference for people. And it's consistently reproducible, predictable. It's just amazing.
It sounds simple, and well, simple is always good, actually. But what if somebody touched you there inadvertently? Nothing.
No. It took me 7 years of post-chiropractic to get my advanced certification degree. When I first went to the trainings out in Colorado, and I was learning, I had to unlearn everything that I knew as a chiropractor.
Oh, wow.
Even my touch was too forceful. You have to learn, you have to unlearn and relearn the network protocol, which is very, very different. It's actually the opposite of what a chiropractor would do in any particular area of one's spine. But with the right touch, along with the intuition of the practitioner, following the protocol, you get systematic changes. That the way the work works is in levels of care. You can predict what's going to happen in early level 1, late level 2, early level 3. It's consistent with every person. It's like, it's what what you would expect with a toddler who's 2 years old. How they're going to crawl, or how they're going to walk, or how they're going to, right? You can watch the growth.
The process,
it's
really.
the same exact thing with the nervous system. You watch the nervous system begin to shift, and you can predict exactly what's going to happen based upon where they are in their level of care.
And so over what time period is this taking place?
Great question. Usually patients see me in active care somewhere between 3 to 6 months. The early level 1 of care, where the system discharges and people fall into ease and they can breathe again. You talk to someone that's high anxiety, they can never get a deep breath. I mean, that's one of the criteria, and you start to breathe, and that just changes so much for people. I can breathe again, and it gives them a chance to step out of that defense physiology. And so that's usually about 2 months or so. Some people do it sooner, some people do it a little later. Depends upon how defensive they are,
right?
And how
open they are,
and how traumatized they've been. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And then level 2, it could take a while. It could take 3 to 4 months, because that's a big shift. That's where transformation and refinement begin. When I say refinement, I mean when their system starts to shift in level 2, it's a pattern interrupt wave that occurs. And that level 2 somatopsychic wave, I know these words don't really make a difference, don't mean anything, but when you see a muscular wave on the table, what starts to happen is that the circuitry that's been tied to the past breaks.
It's coming apart.
It's a pattern interrupt wave. It interrupts the patterns of how we've been tied to our past, whether it be on the emotional level, whether it be on the neurological level, and that creates a whole new realm of possibility. And then transformation begins to come in, and then we begin to refine. People begin to refine their lives. We start to look at their lives, directions they're going, people they're hanging out with.
So everything shifts.
Everything begins to shift, and no longer is it about the condition. It becomes a new conversation.
Yeah, I
growth.
love that, because it's. I mean, to me, possibility is one of my favorite words. I mean, the whole concept of possibility.
That's right. So if you think about it, when a patient comes in, or when a client comes in with you, even the word, if you look up the word patient in the dictionary, it has the root victim with it. It's victim. It's doc, you take care of me. Right? I
didn't realize that, yeah.
And then in level 2, that conversation begins to turn, and people begin to see, okay, where am I responsible? Where can I make a difference? It becomes a different conversation. So we gently with our coaching, nudge them and hold them and support them in moving from a victim state. There's nothing I can do. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I don't know who to see, to, oh, wow, I can really make a difference.
Yeah.
And then begin to experience the empowerment.
Yeah, so it literally transforms their lives.
Yeah, and then we just, keep moving.
What a great process. That's amazing. So most of your patients they start with physical complaints, is that?
Almost all.
Yeah.
Almost all.
Without realizing how connected it is?
You're talking about earlier, we just said, with what is your spiritual journey? What I say to people is, people don't come to see me for the reason they think they come to see me.
Yeah.
It really isn't that at all. Because why would you choose me? I'm so out of the box in what I do. So I know that Spirit is sending that person to me for a reason, and it's not for the reason they think they're coming to me for.
Yeah, that's so true, isn't it?
So I just hold that space.
Yeah, yeah. That's in coaching. It's similar because we call it the presenting agenda versus the transformative agenda.
That's
so
exactly it.
It's very similar.
So I just wait and I hold the space and let things unfold.
Yeah, because they have to. It's
Yeah.
not, you're not there to fix them.
There's nothing to fix.
No, they're going to do it.
It's a whole different
Whole different mindset.
whole different mindset from which we practice.
Yeah, that's very similar to the coaching mindset.
It is very similar.
And healing too.
Yeah.
Because the body does heal itself, but you have this magic, technique to help it go along, which is just amazing. I love this. So why do they call it network? That was one question I had before. Because the meaning of network, you think, like your network.
Why did Dr. Epstein do this? Network Spinal Analysis. I think what he was alluding to is that the network represented the network of different techniques that he put together, the network of different philosophies across the spectrum of healing, the network of holistic practitioners around the world. I think he used
a lot of different ways.
Yeah, I think he used network as a kind of a global statement, and then spinal analysis is the brilliance of it. The analysis tells me where the system is stuck.
Okay.
Consistently, and so it was coined network spinal analysis.
Yeah, okay, I get that.
Yeah.
I was thinking, the network is like the network in our body.
It could be that
the
too.
Mind, body, spirit, everything's connected, nervous system, you name it, right?
No doubt, yeah.
So when you do the touching, and it's all based on the spinal analysis that you've already completed.
Correct.
So it's different for each person?
Ask me that again.
So
I want to make sure I answer it correctly.
Yeah, so when you were describing your system, I thought, okay, you kind of do the same thing for everybody, but obviously no.
So the analysis is
where you touch them and all that.
Oh, that changes. Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So to go a little deeper into the analysis, Dr. Epstein has found that there are 5 phases of spinal cord tension. And basically what that means is the cord torques in the spinal canal in a number of different ways. It could be stuck in forward flexion. It could be stuck in lateral bending. It could be stuck up in the base of the skull. It could be stuck down in the sacrum. It could be stuck at both ends of the spine, a double-ended cord tension pattern.
Okay, wow, okay.
Right, so while if you were to watch me do the work, it looks simple. It looked like an impossible puzzle when I first saw it, with all the different, you do this and this and this and this and this and this, and then I have to be responsible for me and myself and where do I fit in all this, and the light touch, and then I have to get the results that I'm looking for, and it was like, oh, are you kidding me?
Very complex.
It was very complex, and you just had to take it back into your practice and work and work and work and work, and really the magic is in that I become transparent in the interaction with the patient, meaning that, I make the connection, I step away and let the body do the healing, and so I've learned, to be gentle in that environment, and I've created an office space that matches that.
Oh.
Yeah.
What is that like?
Well, it's like what's there is soft, gentle, safe, trusting, integritous space. So when you walk in, no matter where you look, no matter what you smell, no matter what you see, it's coherent.
Oh, that's awesome.
With healing.
Yeah. Well, that's perfect.
And I think that's critical.
Yeah. You're right, and it's not something that I would have necessarily thought of. But no, I guess that's not true, because I kind of do the same thing at my center. It's different.
Yeah.
But you want it all to have that same vibe.
I don't want anything in the way.
Yeah.
I don't want
Yeah.
I don't want to capture anyone's attention with something that's not supposed to be there. I don't, lights are supposed to be a certain
Yeah.
way, that they hear certain, they're not listening to, Southern rock.
Anything,
Right.
jarring or
Right.
what,
So
right.
so you create an environment that breeds transformation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So I definitely have to come see you. They have to sign up for treatment, even though I'm sure there's lots of things that can be improved, shall we say?
Sure.
Yeah.
Enhanced.
Enhanced or
Yeah.
improved, or however you
Yeah.
want to say it, because it's just like I just have to experience it for myself. It sounds pretty amazing.
Have you seen what a person's body waves like? Yeah. So if you go on my Facebook page, you can see the number of patients that have their bodies just undulate.
Really? So they let you record them doing that?
I've got their permission, and I've got a few of them on there, and the testimonials that I have talk about the amazing changes that people have gone through. And I just want to make sure that I get across to you that it's not about me.
I don't feel that at all.
Yeah, there can't be any ego involved if there is no healing takes place.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. We're just a conduit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so as I can be as pure as I can be, so people can receive the kind of love and healing that they deserve.
Yeah, no, that's great that you explain that, because some people may not be aware of that.
Yeah.
Because I think in our culture, the tradition is to venerate MDs, doctors, that they're better than we are. They're doing something that we can't do. They're not there in that role.
Right.
In that conduit role.
Right.
And so it's great that this is what this is about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about healing, having us heal ourselves.
Yeah. And we forget how powerful we are.
Right. Because that's sort of been taken away from us in a way.
We think that the power is outside of us.
Yeah.
It's not how we were made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. So, well, this has been very enlightening. We're going to wrap up now, Larry, but I'm so happy that you were able to come to the show. Thank you so much.
Can I just say one more thing?
Okay, quick.
The power that made the body has the power to heal the body.
Yeah. That's perfect.
Thank
That's
you.
a beautiful way to end it. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And thanks to our audience for being here with us tonight. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did learning from Dr. Larry Stern. And hope to see you on the next episode of Spiritual Connection. I'm your host, Katie Augustyn. Good night and blessings. Thank you.